All right, happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Survive to Thrive. Super excited to be here with you today. Grab some pen and paper. Want you to take some notes. Today, we're going to talk about negotiating contracts. Not sure who asked for this a couple weeks ago. I would give credit to you if I remembered, but whoever that was, thank you for the suggestion. And here we go. I've got five key points that I want to share with you today. Number one, high energy, be excited. When you have an offer on a property and you're calling your client, you have the listing side here, okay? And you call your client and it's a low offer. Don't do what I did when I first got started in this business, right? I'd call Lorenzo and I'd say, Lorenzo, John Dietz. Oh man, we got an offer. You're not going to like it, buddy, but I have to call you and I have to give you all offers, right? Okay, so what are the chances of that offer coming together? Say zero, because that's exactly what the chances of that opportunity of that offer coming together. Now, what I want to do is I'm calling Mary Ellen. Hey, Mary Ellen, it's John Dietz. I'm calling with great news. Write it down. It's a script. There it is. Every single time you have an offer on a property, you are calling with great news. If you tell them they're not going to like the offer, guess what? They're not going to like the offer. The fact that they have an offer on their property is great news, especially if you're in a market where homes are sitting on the market, they're not going under contract, they're not getting showings. Um, your home's been on the market for 120 days and you just got an offer. It's the only one you've gotten, and you're calling your client and telling them, you're not going to like the offer. Sorry, but I've got to present it anyways. No, it's Aaron, John Dietz calling with great news. Now, of course, what do you think the seller is going to say? What's the great news? We got an offer on your home. Seller's going to respond, um, what's the offer? Now, what I do when I'm presenting an offer to the seller is I'm going to let them know, let me go through the entire offer. And then once we've gone through the entire offer, we'll talk about the options that we have as far as responding back to the buyer's agent. I don't start off with price. I start off with all the terms of the contract. They're asking for a 30-day closing. It's an as-is contract. This is how much money they're putting down, so on and so on, blah, blah, blah. And the last thing I'm going to tell them is, and the offer price, Russell, is $550,000. Silence. Now, Russell's home is on the market for $600,000. What do you think Russell's response is going to be? He's excited. That's because Russell's really smart. Remember, your sellers go to script school too. Okay. So the seller's response is going to be, that's not great news. $550,000, and then they're going to get offended. Okay. Now I'm going to cover that in one of my other key points here. So I'm not going to go over it with you right now. But your job to start the conversation is high energy, be excited. Okay, number two. Don't get angry at buyers who make low offers. So sellers, when they get a low offer, they're going to get angry at the buyer, Matthew. They're going to say, "Oh my gosh, that dirty rotten buyer! They just gave me a $550,000 offer. My asking price is $600,000." By the way, sellers are always going to compare the offer to what their original list price is. They're always going to say that same seller who's at 600, they're going to say we started at 625. That's $75,000 less than we wanted. Just because they started at 625 doesn't mean that that was where they should have started. They probably should have started lower than 600, but let's just say 600 is a good price. The offer's 550. They're going to compare it to where they were. Okay, that was a little bit of a bunny trail, but you need to get them back to the center and back to the conversation. This is where the price is today, not where we started. Now, the seller's going to get mad at the buyer, that dirty, rotten buyer. So here's my response to a seller who gets angry at the buyer. Instead of getting angry at the buyer who chose to make an offer on your home, out of all of the homes that are available, out of all of the homes that they looked at, they chose to make an offer on your home. Maybe we should be getting angry at all the buyers who looked at your home and didn't make an offer. So do a paradigm shift with them. Get them to understand that this is a good thing, whether they like the offer or not. They should be excited that this buyer, out of all the properties they could make an offer on, chose to make an offer on their home. One of my favorite responses is, well, Tyann, it's better than the offer we had yesterday. Now, of course, what kind of response do you think we're going to get to? It's better than the offer we had yesterday. The response is going to be, we didn't have an offer. And your response is, exactly. That's why it's better. Another one of my favorite responses to this is, of all the properties that a buyer can make an offer on, right now there's 24 properties priced between 550 and $600,000 within 2 miles of your home. That's the competition. And out of all of the properties that they could have made an offer on, they chose to make an offer on yours. All right, number three, don't be attached to the outcome. That's for you guys. When you are attached to the outcome, you are conveying the opposite of what you want to convey. Remember, seller has three questions about you. Those three questions are, can I trust you? Do you care about me? And can you help me? And when you're attached to the outcome, they can feel that. And their message that they're getting is, you don't care about me. All you care about is getting a commission check. That's commission breath. Whenever you are pushing the seller or your buyer to do something they don't want to do so that you can get a commission check, you're speaking with commission breath. It stinks and they don't like it. Not one of my normal long pauses, more remarkable shutdown. So I look at my notes. So don't be attached to the outcome. You can never want a deal to happen more than your client does. Write it down. If you want the deal to come together more than your buyer does, more than the seller does, the deal is never going to come together. The best thing you can do is going to be completely unattached. Michael, I'm coming right to you in 1 second. Can be completely unattached. I don't want you to have an I don't care attitude, but I want your mindset to be, I'm closing X number of homes every single month. Whether this property closes or not, I'm going to hit my goal. I am not attached to the outcome. I am attached to my client's goals. If this deal comes together, great. If it doesn't come together, fine. I'm still going to hit my goals. Okay, Michael Trelongo, talk to me.
I was just going back before we get too far off and I forget. The lowball offer, the opportunity to counter that offer is a tremendous exercise for you and your seller. It, number one, gives you the opportunity to do a mock negotiation, even if that deal doesn't get together, and get into their mindset of what they really would accept on the sale. And then the second thing that it does is it gives you the opportunity to train them and get them used to signing contracts to sell their house. So the counteroffer shouldn't be verbal. Like, you should go through the process, get them signing the contract, and it just gets them used to signing. And when the next offer comes in, that's a solid offer. If this one doesn't come together, this is a great dry run. So don't miss the opportunity.
All right, great job, Michael. Hang in there with me for a second because I'm just going to keep going with this, okay? So the asking price is 600,000. We have an offer for your home at $550,000. And Michael, you're going to respond by giving me a counter offer, okay? Or you take the agent. I'll be the seller. So,
Okay. Yeah, so John, we've got an offer on the table. They want to close in 30 days, so that actually gets us closer to the time frame that you wanted to be, which is awesome. Looks like they're going to be putting down about 3%, which is typically what we look for, somewhere between 3 and 5%. And the closing should take place right at the end of the month. Puts us in a good position. They're offering 550, John. What do you think about that offer?
okay. I don't like the offer.
Okay, what don't you like about it?
It's too low.
Okay, too low. So I understand that it's low compared to what we have it listed at. And where does it make sense for you to, like, whenever we're in this position, I never want to, like, just tell the offer to go kick rocks. we like to counter because sometimes they're just testing us, right? And so if they're testing us, we got to go back and make an offer that would feel comfortable for you and also put us in a good position to end up where we want to be. So with there at 550, we're listed at 625. In this case, in my opinion, we meet them somewhere towards the middle that we want to be, and we teach them how to counter us, right? So we're $75,000 apart, and we want to work towards the middle. So what in your opinion, what does a good counter offer look like to you?
Okay, so let's just say out of role play here, okay? Let's just say I eventually come up to 575,000,
Yeah.
right? So where Michael's
Okay.
going with this, Michael, if it's okay, I'll jump back in, all right?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So where Michael is going with this, everybody, is even if this deal doesn't come together, what have you got? You've got a seller that has agreed to sell the price at $575,000, right? Now the asking price prior to the offer was $600,000. So um, your very first conversation after that deal doesn't come together is to talk to with the seller about bringing the price down to 575. If they were willing to sell it to the previous buyer for 575, they need to lower the price to 575 immediately to give themselves a best opportunity to get another offer at 575. And
Yeah,
Michael,
so we just saved the hard stop conversation because we already had it, sort of.
that's right. That's right. 100%. Good stuff, Michael. Thank you for jumping in there. Always bring a lot of contribution to our call. Always welcome to do that. Um, so point number three. Uh, Never mind. Point number four. You have three options. So every time I'm presenting an offer to a seller, I'm always going to let them know. So we have three options here, Kaya. We can either accept the offer and congratulations, your home is sold. You're closing in 30 days. You're moving to Atlanta to be closer to your family, and you're going to be out of your home for sure in the next 30 days, which is great news. Now, the second option is you can reject the offer. If you reject the offer, it's dead. We're done and we're looking for another buyer. Now, depending on the market, I'm going to use harm's way conversation here to help Kaya understand that rejecting the offer potentially could mean that your home is still available 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 90 days from now. If we had a crystal ball and you knew this was the best offer you were going to get, or the only offer you would get, would you reject the offer? If you knew you would still be in your home 6 months from now, and your home is worth less money in 6 months than it is today, would you still reject the offer? You want to help them make the decision to make a new decision based on new information, to have a paradigm shift without having commission breath. It's a fine line, but you've got to walk this line in a way to help them understand that they need to make the best decision for themselves without you being attached to the outcome. Now, what I would do in that situation is I would tell Kaya, this is about you. If you reject the offer and your home doesn't sell, you're still here 6 months from now. If you're okay with that, so am I. I'm never going to give you advice based on what's best for me. I'm going to hit my goals every month, whether we sell your home or not. This is about you. I'll tell them, I'm never going to be more motivated to get your home sold than you are. So if you want to reject the offer, we're totally okay with that. Now, your third option is to make a counter offer. What do you want to do? That's all I'm going to do is what do you want to do? By the way, with the role play with Michael, my response is a little bit different than Michael's, but he's really good at going deep, and I'm a high D and I get right to the point. So, Bob, we have your asking price is 600,000. The offer came in at $550,000. What do you want to do? That's that's the first question I'm going to ask him. What do you want to do? Now, I can tee it up and say we've got we have three options here, Bob. We can either accept the offer, we can reject the offer, or we can make a counter offer. What would you like to do? Um,
John,
yes, talk.
if you go that route and they tell you they don't want to do anything, what's your next move?
They don't want to do anything.
Yeah, they want to decline it. It's too low. You give them that option of this is where we're at. What do you want to do? And they say, nope, I'm done. Where do you go from there?
We're just going to reject the offer. Okay, no worries. So, Aaron, we've been on the market now for 60 days. This is the first offer we've had, and I totally get it. You want to reject the offer. I'm totally okay with that. Now, if you're still on the market 30 days from now, 60 days from now, and you find out that the offer wasn't really as bad as you thought it was, would you potentially regret rejecting that offer? Now, I'm just going to be quiet until Aaron answers the question. Okay. And if Aaron comes back and says, no, I want 600 or I'm not 600,000 or I'm not selling my home, this could turn into a conversation. We're going to go back to the listing appointment. When we first met, I shared with you that one of three things that typically happen when I meet with a potential seller is I may choose to turn down the opportunity. Now, the reason I would choose to turn down the opportunity is if I feel a seller has a goal or an expectation that cannot be met or exceeded. And Aaron, unfortunately, I think this might be one of those times. So at this point, I think that, um, I'll send you a cancellation agreement. You sign it, and we'll take your home off the market. Another thing I would do in this kind of situation, bunny trail again, is I would send them two documents. I would also send them an updated supply and demand analysis and an updated comps on their property with a suggested price they need to be at. And I would send a document to lower the price to 575. And I would send a cancellation agreement at the same time. And I would tell them sign one of them. Sign either one of them. Don't care which one you sign. Just sign one of them and send it back to me. And you
Right.
will, and you will have people that sign the price, lower the price. When you do a takeaway, takeaways are powerful. When they know you're not attached to the outcome, when they know you don't need this deal to close in order to pay your bills, then they're more likely to follow the advice they need to follow in order to get the deal done. And
And
talk to me.
excuse me. In this case, would you use purchase price?
Tell me more about that, Clem.
Been in the been in the property for 5 years. They have to have equity. Instead of focusing on the 600,000, focus on the purchase price and what the equity gets to be.
Yeah, of course I would. So I'm going to go a lot deeper into math as a big part of negotiations, Clem. So I'm going to break down the number, especially if I'm dealing with a high C, and I'm going to go very deep into that. So thank you for bringing that up. 100% I will. The last point I have, guys, and I want to leave you time for questions here. Number five is cooperate, don't compete. When I first started selling real estate a long, 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 long time ago, I thought that it was my job to compete against the co-broker. I was out to beat him, Connor. And it didn't take me long to learn that person's my friend. It's my job to work with them to get the deal done. You and I are here together, Russell, to get this deal done. We're deal makers, we're not deal breakers. So let's work really hard to get your buyer under contract, get the seller under contract, and get this deal to the closing table. Cooperate with the co-op agent. Don't compete with them. All right. Hands up. Connor, talk to me.
So you said if you're listing for 600, you could offer for 550 and your seller says they want to counter and they agree to 575. You said once they agree to lowering the price, you would go ahead and lower the price. How does that work in terms of when you lower it? Do you wait for them to either decline that counter offer before you lower it?
Yeah, so I've done both, believe it or not. But most of the time, you're going to wait for that deal not to come together and then lower the price to 575,000. But if I have a buyer's agent who's dragging their feet, like it's a Friday afternoon and the sellers come back with 575 and the buyer agent wants to wait until Monday to give us an answer, I'll tell the buyer's agent, you know what, since the seller has already agreed to lower to 575, we're going to go ahead and lower this in the MLS to 575 and see if we can get another offer between now and Monday.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Hands up, guys. I'm done. All right, Bob, talk to me.
Morning, John. Yeah, that move to make the change to 575 will get a buyer off the fence.
Yep. Well,
They could have been toying with you, and then they see you're serious, and then there's other interest. I mean,
yep.
the seller has a better chance of selling at 575 than just dropping to 550. So,
That's right.
strategy.
That's right. Thank you. Joanne, talk to me.
Sorry, my new kid's dentist office quietly, but this is the conversation I needed this morning because we have an offer coming in and she's already just rejected two offers and fallen out of contract with a third. And so I anticipate it's going to come in a little bit lower. And I'm probably going to have to circle back and have this conversation with you again because I'm like thinking about all the different things that she's going to say and it's not going to be good enough. And so I'm going to watch this recording when you put it back up on YouTube.
Good stuff, Joanne. Thanks for sharing. Talk to me, Joe.
Yeah, so the first thing is I coach my clients never to reject an offer. Even if unless it's a terms offer from an investor, if you come in 100,000 low, it's like other than the price, what else is there anything else in this contract you don't like? Isolate it out. Awesome. So we like all the terms and conditions they're offering except for the price. John, at what point are we not selling your house? Oh, that same price. Not a problem. Hey, John, so this is my advice to you. And at the end of the day, you make the decision. Let's go ahead and accept all the terms and condition in this contract. But let's counter that price back at your list price. And we send a counter offer. And basically, the email that goes back in that written one says, hey, exciting news. My client loves everything in your offer except for one thing. So we agree to all terms and conditions. We just need to adjust the price. And they're not going to find out it came back at list until they open it up, but it's there. Like Mike Trongo said, it gets them in the habit of signing papers, but you also know that they're not going any lower.
It's a great strategy. Thanks for sharing that, Joe. And it reminded me of one more thing. The whole idea of be excited works with the co-op agent as well. So when you call the co-op agent, it's, hey, Kaya, great news. I have a counter offer for you. And then your counter offer is, like Joe said, back at full price, or the sellers come down just a little bit. Now, the other agent who is attached to the outcome, okay? No, just because they're attached doesn't mean you're attached. Remember that. The other agent responds with, that's not great news. The seller barely came down. It's better than a rejection. Okay, talk to me, Sean.
I like what Joe said about coaching their clients. I usually describe the market during the listing agreement and the strategy. We always have a strategy, whether they know it or not. So what is the listing designed to do? So my catchphrase in the off the market is one showing, one offer. We don't need 1,000 showings and no offers. We need one showing and one offer, and that's what it's designed to do. When I say that at the beginning, and we get the lower offer, and I've already told them we're expecting lower than list, it sets them up to be not agreeable, but it opens them up to the going down or to negotiating and not to take such a hard stance. If they're not already open, you're probably not going to take the listing because the price is too low and that's it. You walk out of there and go on to the next one.
It's a good point. Thanks, Sean. Hey, Mary Ellen put in the chat, 92% can be a good starting offer in my market. Buyer and seller are only 8% apart. So yeah, know your local market, guys. Know what homes are selling for, list price to sell price ratio. Let that buyer know, let the seller know. But if I'm talking to the seller, their offer is 8% below your asking price. And homes in our market right now are selling at about 93 to 94% of the asking price. So they're not off by that much in order to help that seller get a little bit less angry and make a counter offer versus telling the buyer to take a walk. By the way, 79 of you today, great job. That's a new all-time high. I'm getting notifications on Zoom telling me I have to pay more money for the upgraded package because we're going to be over the limit here. If we're going over 100 tomorrow, let me know so I can go ahead and upgrade today. Guys, that was great. I hope you got value today. Invite your friends. Let's continue to grow the group. And I will see everybody tomorrow morning at 9:30. Make it a great day, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank you,
John.
John.
Good day, everyone.
Thanks, John. We hit 77 today, by the way.
77.
Wow.
77. Okay.
Sevens.
Not bad. Very good. Way to go, guys. Make it a great day, everybody. I will see you tomorrow morning.